3 countries will rise, 3 will collapse. Baba Vanga's 2025 warning, predictions for 2025. Imagine waking up to a world that no longer follows the rules we once knew, where global powers trade places overnight, and the fate of nations pivots on unseen forces. Baba Vanga, the mysterious blind seer whose predictions have echoed through time, left behind a startling vision for 2025. She foretold of 3 countries set to rise with unstoppable strength, and 3 others headed for a dramatic fall. Could this ancient prophecy be unfolding right now, shaping the headlines and choices we live with every day? In today's journey, on the journey of wisdom, we uncover the deeper meaning behind Baba Vanga's vision, not just which countries may ascend or collapse, but what her words can teach us about power, impermanence, and the fragile balance of our modern world. So if you're drawn to the hidden patterns of history and the wisdom that lies beneath, stay with us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Journey of Wisdom, because together we explore the truths that prepare the mind and soul for what lies ahead. Number 1. Countries predicted to rise in 2025. Now, let's get into the mind of Baba Vanga and uncover the future of our world. To truly understand the weight of Baba Vanga's prophecies, we need to delve into her track record. Known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans, Baba Vanga made predictions that have left many in awe. 1. India, the Eastern superpower. As we reflect on the powerful and often mysterious predictions of Baba Vanga, one prophecy captures the imagination like no other. The rise of an Eastern superpower that would shift the balance of global influence, not only in wealth, but in wisdom, innovation, and culture. Many believe this nation to be India. This isn't mere speculation, but a reflection of real transformations already underway. India, with its deep spiritual roots and a civilization that gave the world yoga, Ayurveda, and the concept of non-violence, is now emerging as a beacon of modern progress. Economic forecasts suggest that by 2025, India could outpace Germany and Japan to become the 3rd largest economy in the world. Yet, what makes India's rise so compelling isn't just its growing GDP, the way it blends ancient values with futuristic vision. As the Buddha once said, "What we think, we become." India is thinking big and becoming something even greater. Technologically, India is pushing boundaries in ways that echo Baba Vanga's visions of a nation stepping into a leadership role across multiple domains. Consider India's Chandrayaan mission's ambitious journeys that not only reached the moon, but symbolized a nation confidently reaching for the stars. Now, with plans for Mars missions and a robust space program, India stands on the frontier of exploration, proving that vision, not just velocity, drives greatness. In the rapidly evolving world of artificial intelligence, Indian minds and startups are making global waves. With a young, skilled population and a rapidly digitizing economy, the country is building tools that may soon power the world's industries, cities, and homes. And in the face of the climate crisis, India's investments in solar energy, electric vehicles, and sustainable development show that progress can be green as well as grand. In matters of diplomacy, culture, and global dialogue, India's influence continues to grow. Once seen primarily as a recipient of foreign aid, it is now becoming a key player in shaping international policies, peace efforts, and technological collaborations. This transformation isn't just about economics, it's a spiritual and cultural renaissance too. From Bollywood films spreading messages of love and resilience to Indian philosophies of balance and mindfulness gaining popularity worldwide, India is sharing its soul with the world. As the Dalai Lama reminds us, the more we care for the happiness of others, the greater our own sense of well-being becomes. India's rise, if guided with compassion and unity, could uplift not only its own people but humanity as a whole. When we view these changes through the lens of Baba Vanga's predictions, the puzzle pieces begin to fit. Her vision of an Eastern nation ascending not just in power, but in principle points to a future that India may very well embody. This isn't a story of dominance, but of emergence of a nation that leads by example, blending technological brilliance with spiritual wisdom. In today's world where many feel overwhelmed by rapid change, India's journey can be a reminder that progress and peace do not have to be opposites. So, as we observe the tides of history turning and futures being shaped, perhaps we are witnessing the fulfillment of an old prophecy that speaks not only to the rise of a country, but to the awakening of a new world mindset. What lessons can we take from this? That the seeds of greatness lie not just in ambition, but in harmony, and that the future, while uncertain, is also full of extraordinary possibility. 2. Turkey, the geopolitical bridge. Let's take a deeper look at a country that's often described as a bridge between worlds, Turkey. Now, if you've ever heard the name Baba Vanga, you know she's one of the most talked about mystics of the 20th century, with predictions that have sparked curiosity and conversation across generations. Among her many prophecies for the future, one that stands out is about a country that will rise from the heart of a geopolitical storm, a nation that literally connects continents and cultures. And when you think about it, doesn't Turkey fit that image almost perfectly? Turkey sits right where Europe meets Asia and touches the Middle East, a rare and powerful positioning that gives it a unique advantage in world affairs. The Bosporus Strait, which Turkey controls, isn't just a beautiful waterway, it's one of the most critical trade routes in the world. Nearly 10% of all global trade moves through this narrow passage, and that kind of influence is not something the world can ignore. But Turkey's role in the future, as Baba Vanga might have hinted, goes far beyond geography. In the last decade, Turkey has been steadily expanding its footprint on the global stage, not just through its position on the map, but through strategic actions and ambitions. It has poured resources into growing a modern, self-sustaining defense industry, reduced dependence on foreign suppliers, and emerged as a country that can defend its interests and shape regional outcomes. Diplomatically, Turkey is stepping into roles traditionally held by major world powers, offering to mediate in conflicts across the Middle East and even parts of Africa. It's been involved in peace talks, refugee support, and post-conflict reconstruction efforts. This ability to serve as a negotiator, while also possessing military strength and economic ambitions, puts Turkey in a rare category of rising powers. Does this sound like the kind of country Baba Vanga envisioned with the power to bridge divides not just of land, but of ideologies and nations? Let's not overlook the domestic growth either. Turkey has been modernizing its infrastructure, investing in new technologies, and developing industries that reach far beyond textiles and tourism. From energy to aviation, its national projects suggest a country looking to stand shoulder to shoulder with the global giants. And while it still faces challenges, political, economic, and societal, many believe that how Turkey navigates these storms may well determine if it fulfills the prophecy of rising greatness. Could these signs be what Baba Vanga saw decades ago? Could this be the era where Turkey finally claims its place as a leading global force? As we watch its moves on the world stage, it's hard not to see the pieces falling into place. So here's a question for you. In a world reshaped by shifting powers and new alliances, could a nation that literally stands at the crossroads of East and West also become the bridge to the future? If Baba Vanga's vision holds any truth, then Turkey is a country to watch. And maybe, just maybe, the lesson here is this. Sometimes strength doesn't come from dominating one side, but from connecting all sides. Being a bridge, geographically, culturally, and politically, might be one of the most powerful positions of all. 3. Brazil, sustainability leader. Let's take a closer look at a country that may very well be stepping into the future, exactly as Baba Vanga predicted Brazil. When you think of Brazil, what comes to mind? Maybe the Amazon rainforest, the vibrant culture, or its complex political history. But beyond the headlines and past struggles with corruption, inflation, and social inequality, Brazil is quietly transforming into something much more impactful, a global leader in sustainability. Now, think about this. Baba Vanga spoke of a country that would not just rise economically, but lead the world by setting an example in how it cares for the earth. Could she have been referring to Brazil, a nation that holds the lungs of our planet within its borders and is now making bold moves toward renewable energy and environmental protection? You see, Brazil is uniquely positioned to become a champion of sustainability. It already generates a huge portion of its electricity from hydroelectric power, tapping into its powerful rivers. But it's not stopping there. Solar farms are expanding across sun-drenched regions, and wind energy projects are taking root along the coasts, pushing Brazil into the spotlight as a renewable energy pioneer. Now, here's where it gets even more compelling. Brazil's relationship with the Amazon rainforest is evolving. For decades, the Amazon has been under threat, with illegal logging, wildfires, and land disputes threatening this critical ecosystem. But recent policy shifts and increased global pressure are encouraging new conservation efforts. Brazil is being watched closely as a country that not only has the resources to lead in environmental stewardship, but also the global responsibility. So ask yourself this: in a time where climate change and environmental crises dominate international discussions, isn't a nation that can protect one of the most vital ecosystems on Earth exactly the kind of leader Baba Vanga might have envisioned? As Brazil takes steps to balance development with preservation, enforcing stricter environmental laws, collaborating on international climate agreements, and promoting sustainable agriculture, it's proving that leadership today isn't just about power, but about responsibility. Could this be Brazil's true risen, not just as a South American giant, but as a moral compass for how humanity coexists with nature? And if we think about Baba Vanga's prophecy in this light, maybe it wasn't just about a nation growing stronger, but about a nation showing us how to live better. So I want to ask you, what defines a powerful country in 2025? Is it military strength, financial dominance? Is it the ability to protect life, to lead with compassion, and to secure the planet for future generations? As Brazil continues its journey, it's not just reclaiming its voice on the global stage, it may be shaping the path we all follow. And perhaps the deeper lesson here is this: true progress isn't about conquering, but about cultivating, not about taking more, but about sustaining what we already have. Brazil, with all its beauty and burden, might just be the teacher the world needs right now. Still watching? That means you're not afraid to face what others ignore. The rise and fall of nations in 2025 could change everything. Drop "ready for 2025" in the comments if you're prepared to embrace the truth. Stick with us to the end. The most powerful revelations are yet to come. Number 2. Countries predicted to fall in 2025. 1. United States. Internal crisis. Let's take a thoughtful look at what may be one of the most unsettling predictions from Baba Vanga for the year 2025, vision that many believe points directly to the United States. For decades, the US has been seen as a pillar of global strength, innovation, and influence. Yet Baba Vanga's prophecy speaks of internal conflict, division, and the weakening of even the most powerful empires. Now, think about the current state of America, rising political polarization, a divided public, debates over fundamental rights, and growing distrust in institutions. These aren't just passing issues, they're symptoms of deeper fractures that many fear could lead to something far more severe. When Baba Vanga reportedly foresaw a leadership crisis and social unrest shaking the foundations of a nation, many connected those warnings to the escalating tensions within the US, and 2025 may very well be the turning point. The reality is, the United States today is facing several storms at once. Economically, there's concern about rising inflation, a shaky housing market, and the sustainability of national debt. Socially, issues of race, immigration, healthcare, and gun control continue to divide communities, with little sign of common ground. Politically, we're witnessing an erosion of civil discourse and an environment where truth itself is often debated, not just policies. With elections always just around the corner, the tension only builds, and many fear that democracy may be reaching a fragile tipping point. Could Baba Vanga have been warning not just about war or disaster, but about the internal unraveling of a nation too divided to see its own vulnerability? What happens when a country is no longer united in values, goals, or even a shared sense of truth? Now, this isn't to say that collapse is inevitable. America has a long history of resilience, rebirth, and reinvention. Through world wars, economic crashes, and civil rights struggles, it has always managed to rise again. But this time, the challenge may be less about external enemies and more about the fight within. And this is where the lesson for all of us becomes personal. Whether you live in the US or anywhere else in the world, Baba Vanga's warning is not just a prediction, it's a mirror. Are we listening to one another, or just waiting to reply? Are we building communities based on understanding, or drawing lines based on fear? The United States may be the center of this particular prophecy, but the lesson extends to every modern society standing at a crossroads between progress and polarization. So as we approach 2025, let this be more than a prediction to feel it. It be a call to action, not one of panic, but of awareness. How do we each contribute to the unity or division of the world around us? Baba Vanga's vision might point to crisis, but perhaps the true message is that even the strongest can fall not through enemies at the gates, but through forgetting what brought them together in the first place. It's not too late to change course, but the question remains, will we listen? 2. United Kingdom, possible breakup. Baba Vanga, the mysterious blind mystic from Bulgaria, made predictions that continue to stir curiosity and concern, especially when they seem to mirror our present reality. One of her more striking prophecies speaks of a powerful old empire facing a slow but steady collapse. Many believe she was pointing toward the United Kingdom. Since Brexit, the UK has been walking a tightrope, trying to balance its identity, economy, and unity. By 2025, this balancing act might reach a breaking point. Brexit was not just a political event, it was an emotional rupture that opened old wounds and stirred up long-standing questions about identity and independence. Scotland's call for a second independence referendum has been growing louder. Wales has begun to re-evaluate its future more seriously, and Northern Ireland, still feeling the tremors of post-Brexit realities, faces renewed calls for unification with the Republic of Ireland. Baba Vanga's vision of fragmentation starts to look less like a distant prophecy and more like a reflection of today's headlines. Now, let's ask ourselves, what truly holds a union together? Is it shared history, or is it the promise of a better future? When that promise begins to fade, when economic strain and political division dominate, even the strongest bonds can fray. Baba Vanga also foresaw financial hardship spreading through Western Europe, and the UK is already feeling the weight. The British pound has struggled, trade agreements remain uncertain, and the cost of living continues to rise. These pressures don't just affect markets, they shape lives, shift opinions, and ignite movements. Could financial unrest become the final push that drives regions to choose their own paths? Look closely, and you'll see that the push for independence is no longer a fringe idea, it's gaining traction, becoming a part of everyday conversation. Scotland speaks of sovereignty, Wales talks of self-determination, and in Northern Ireland, cultural and political ties are being re-evaluated through the lens of modern challenges. Baba Vanga's warning doesn't speak of an abrupt collapse, but rather a slow unraveling, where questions outnumber answers and uncertainty becomes the new normal. And still, one must ask, is this the end of a union or the beginning of something new? What values do people wish to protect, and what future are they willing to build? The world is watching, not just out of curiosity, but because what happens in the UK could become a mirror for other nations grappling with division, identity, and transformation. As 2025 continues to unfold, will the United Kingdom manage to navigate these stormy waters, or are we standing at the edge of history, about to witness the birth of new paths from the roots of the old? So now, I ask you directly, how do you define unity? And in times of hardship, what should a nation hold on to the most? Tradition, survival, or the dream of something better? Reflect on this deeply, because the lesson here isn't just about geopolitics, it's about how we respond to change, how we listen to each other, and how we shape the future we wish to live in. The true value of Baba Vanga's prophecy may not lie in whether it comes true, but in how it urges us to think more critically about the world we're building and the choices we're making today. 3. Russia. Internal power struggles. Let me share this with you directly, as though I'm speaking just to you. Baba Vanga, known for her uncanny insights, warned that Russia might face one of its most intense internal power struggles in 2025, and this could hit us all in unexpected ways. She spoke of betrayal within the highest ranks and a leadership battle that could shake the nation's core. With ongoing conflict abroad, international sanctions piling on, and rising dissent at home, Russia has reached a critical crossroads. Imagine the weight of that moment. The nation's leaders, once unified, now divided, maneuvering for control while everyday people feel the tremors. Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment, said the Buddha. Could Russia's present hold the key to whether this prophecy changes the course of history? Baba Vanga didn't stop there. She also foresaw a dramatic financial collapse in Russia's something that could send shockwaves through the global economy. As sanctions bite and financial isolation deepens, the Russian economy is being squeezed like never before. Think about it. When a major player falters, trade slows, stock markets wriggle, and ripples move across borders. Could Russia's fall reshape oil prices, currency values, and global financial confidence? And as we speak, ordinary Russian citizens are already feeling the pinch: higher costs, fewer jobs, and increasing uncertainty. What breeds that kind of discontent? And when leadership is unsettled, who steps into the vacuum? You might be asking, is this really about prophecy, or is it the logical outcome of current tensions? Whether you believe in Vanga's visions or see them as warnings we should heed, the questions remain the same. Can Russia weather these storms of internal division and economic pressure? If with a pure mind a person speaks or acts, happiness follows him like a never-departing shadow. The Buddha taught, yet conflict and fear have a way of clouding clarity. Could calm insight help leaders steer the nation wisely through crisis? Or might betrayal and power grabs take over, locking the country into a spiral of collapse? Looking outward, this moment in Russia is part of a larger global shift. While Russia, the UK, and the US may face trials ahead, Baba Vanga pointed to India, Brazil, and Turkey as emerging forces nations stepping into new roles of economic leadership and influence. Could Russia's stumble create space for others to rise? That in itself poses another question. How will the global balance adjust when old powers falter and new players gain strength? In Buddhist terms, change is constant, nothing lasts forever. Yet how we respond to change determines whether suffering increases or insight grows. So here's a question for you to hold as we talk. As these prophecies unfold, what's my role? What can you do in your own sphere to promote understanding and reduce conflict even when nations quake and economies shudder? Could practicing kindness, open-hearted communication, and mindful awareness be small acts that ripple outward into peace? Buddha reminds us, no one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. So as we consider Russia's future and the global shifts hinted at by Vanga, I invite you to reflect. What steps can you take today to build resilience in your own life and community? This isn't just prophecy, it's a mirror, reflecting what could happen when power is unbalanced, alliances unravel, and economic structures shake. It's also a call to awareness, a reminder that in the midst of uncertainty, we each carry the power of choice to respond with compassion, wisdom, and clarity. And maybe, just maybe, these small individual ripples can help steady not just nations, but our shared world. What do you think? How might you act in the face of change, conflict, or crisis? I'm eager to hear your thoughts and continue this journey together. You've made it this far, which means you're not just a viewer, you're a seeker of truth. Baba Vanga's 2025 predictions are both a warning and a guide. Comment, eyes open, if you're ready to see beyond the surface. Stay until the end to fully understand what these prophecies could mean for your life and the world around you. A message for you. Don't just wait for the future, nurture the present. Dear friend, after hearing the intense and mystifying predictions attributed to Baba Vanga about the collapse of three great powers in 2025, it's only natural for your heart to stir with questions, perhaps even a little unease. But before the winds of fear sweep you away, pause and ask yourself not only what might collapse outside, but what you are building within. Because in truth, while we may not hold the reins of geopolitical change, we each have full command over the state of our own hearts, minds, and homes. And that's where the real power lies. The future is uncertain, yes, but your response to it doesn't have to be. As the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh once said, because you are alive, everything is possible. These words are not just poetic, they are an invitation. An invitation to stop waiting for the world to change and instead start nurturing the present moment with intention and clarity. Let us begin with something many overlook in these complex times: the strength of simplicity. In an age of constant alerts, opinions, and chaos, it's easy to forget that peace isn't found in knowing all the answers. It's found in knowing how to breathe, how to slow down, and how to remain present when everything else is pulling you away. When the world feels like it's falling apart, that's when simplicity becomes your most powerful shelter. The Buddha spoke to this when he said, "The one who is awake shines among those who are asleep, moving forward like a swift horse, leaving a worn-out one behind." That awake person is not someone who knows the future. It's someone who is fully present right now. So when the news overwhelms you, or your thoughts run wild with what-ifs, remember this: a steady breath, a mindful meal, a word of kindness, and a moment of gratitude will do more for your well-being than hours spent chasing certainty. But more than simply grounding yourself, now is the time to resist the seductive pull of doom-filled headlines and prophecies. Whether Baba Vanga's visions are symbolic or literal, we must be cautious about letting them steal our faith in the goodness of people. History is full of dark chapters, but it's also full of people who chose to be lights in that darkness. Rather than obsessing over which nations may rise or fall, ask the deeper question, what can I rise into? What can I help others rise into? Real strength comes not from dominance but from compassion. A single act of kindness, holding space for a friend, donating to a cause, planting a tree, can ripple further than you imagine. As the Dalai Lama reminds us, love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. So when fear tempts you to close your heart, remember that now more than ever, the world needs open hearts willing to serve, to care, and to listen. This brings us to perhaps the most vital message of all. Live with a calm heart, untangled from the traps of fear, ambition, and control. When predictions warn of collapse, our instinct is to grasp tighter, to try and fix, manage, or protect ourselves at all costs. But this tension only leads to more suffering. True wisdom lies in surrender, not in weakness, but in accepting that the external world will always change. Empires rise and fall, economies shift, but the country within remains your sanctuary. Build it with love. Fill it with practices that nourish your soul, whether that's meditation, journaling, prayer, or simply spending time with people who lift your spirit. As Zen master Shunryu Suzuki said, "You're perfect just the way you are, and you could use a little improvement." Let that be your reminder to grow not through panic, but through peace. As we move toward the uncertain horizon of 2025, the most meaningful action you can take isn't preparing for collapse, but preparing your heart. Ask yourself not, what will happen to the world, but who will I be in it? That's where your true legacy lives, not in what you fear, but in what you choose to love, give, and create. Each day, despite the noise, gives you another chance to be part of something beautiful, not just survival, but presence, not just existence, but wisdom. Let your life be the calm in the storm, the light that flickers on when others feel lost. Because in the end, no prediction can override the power of a person who chooses peace over panic and compassion over collapse. And so, dear friend, as we walk through these coming times together, hold tightly to the teachings that have survived far more than any empire. Be generous with your heart, courageous in your stillness, and mindful in your actions. For as the Dhammapada teaches, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. Let that guide you, not the fears of collapse, but the quiet, steady building of a life rooted in wisdom, compassion, and a deep reverence for the now. And so, dear friend, as we face the tides of change and the echoes of prophecy, let us not be consumed by fear, but awakened by awareness. Whether these predictions come true or not, the real power lies in how we choose to live, to think, and to care for one another today. If this journey stirred your curiosity or brought clarity to your path, we invite you to walk further with us. Please like this video, share it with those seeking insight, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming explorations into the truths that shape our world and ourselves. Until next time, stay grounded, stay mindful, and continue your journey in wisdom.